you looking for some last-minute home decor projects for Easter? Well, look no farther. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Jess, and I love to make home decor on a budget. And if you do too, then let's get started. The Dollar Tree always brings out really cute wooden cutouts for every holiday and every season, and these are some of the easiest things to transform to fit your home. I started by taking one of these wooden bunnies that they had out this year and this little wooden home sign. I'm not sure if they have them out right now, but I know I've seen them in the past and they kind of pop up here and there. The first thing I did was fill in the little hole at the top of the ear on the bunny with some Dollar Tree spackle just to help camouflage it once I started painting. I decided to use the back side of this wooden bunny sign. I liked how the front had the ear cutouts and the little tail, but I wanted to keep this more simple just as a bunny silhouette. So I took a pair of pliers and I just kind of pried off that excess bunny tail that was peeking around to the back side, and then I trimmed off the little wood shards with my scissors. Next, I decided to mix a little bit of the antique wax and a tiny drop of the ink colored chalk paint by Waverly to create a darker toned stain, and I applied this on the home sign. The ink is pretty saturated as far as paint goes, and I always regret when I don't put gloves on for this. But once I had painted a small section of the home sign, then I just used a baby wipe to take off the excess paint. Now, a lot of times I like to apply stains and paint with a baby wipe, but because this had little cutouts in between the letters, I wanted to make sure that those were all covered well, so that's why I decided to paint it on with a paintbrush first and then take off the excess with the baby wipe. You could paint the bunny whatever color you wanted, but I wanted something a little more neutral, so I decided to give my bunny one pretty thick coat of the plaster color by Waverly, just because I feel like a lot of the Easter decorations that I already have up in my home have a lot of color to them, so I wanted to balance it out with a more neutral piece. I wanted my bunny to have a bow tie made of greenery and flowers, and I'm so glad that the Dollar Tree has these really pretty greenery stems out this year. I got some of these last year and I was really excited when I saw them again this year. I took a couple and I cut them down to size how I liked it, how it would fit well on the bunny's neck. And then once I had the right size, I used a little dab of hot glue to glue the two stems together. And then just to reinforce everything, I tied it in the center with some jute twine. Then I continued stacking the greenery and some of the little flowers on top of each other until I liked how it looked. Once my greenery bow tie was finished, then I just used some hot glue to hot glue it to around the bunny's neck. To complete this little bunny, I just added some hot glue to its feet and attached the home sign right to the bottom. The great thing about this home sign is because it already has a wooden base, it'll help my bunny stand up on its own. If you like this video so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And come follow me on Instagram at GlueLala. Another thing at the Dollar Tree this year that makes for some really easy home decor are the little carrots. They have twine wrapped ones and they have these super cute bottle brush carrots this year too. I knew I wanted to make a wreath using those bottle brush carrots, so I grabbed one of these wicker wreath forms. These are from the Dollar Tree. They come up from time to time. I think I got this one last year, but they'll probably have more out this year for spring and summer. And I grabbed a couple bunches of flowers from the Dollar Tree. Now, when I do flower arranging, I take the lazy way out or the efficient way out, however you want to say it. And I usually keep the bunches all together. And the great thing about these wicker wreath forms is because of the gaps between the wicker, you can just slide the stems of the flowers right in between the little pieces and they hold pretty steady. But what I like to do is add a little jute twine or some floral wire or even a pipe cleaner or a zip tie, anything just to make it a little more sturdy. And I started with these yellow flowers and I tucked them in, and then I tucked a couple pieces of the white flowers on top of it just to break up that yellow color a little. And like I said, I tied everything on with jute twine. I didn't want to use any hot glue because I love being able to reuse the wreath forms and the flowers after each season. I created a simple burlap bow to go on my wreath, and you can see I decided to put everything to one side on my wreath, but you can make this how you like it. You could put everything at the top or everything at the bottom, or you could go the whole way around with it. So I tied my bow on to the one side and I started messing with the tails, even though fluffing bows is like a never-ending task, right? Like you fluff it once, you mess with it, you mess with the tails, you do some more rearranging. But anyway, so I then took my cute little bottle brush carrots, and they do have a jute twine hanger on them, but the jute wasn't long enough for me to be able to tie it around the wreath. So I cut off the jute twine and then I hot glued another piece of jute twine on the back of it that was long enough that I could tie it around the wreath. And you can see here, I'm messing around with 2 of the carrots, but in the end, I actually decided to tie on 3 carrots to my wreath. The little plastic Easter eggs that they have at the Dollar Tree are another great thing that you can pick up to transform. I picked up 2 packs of these swirly iridescent eggs, and I decided to keep one pack how they are because I really did like the iridescence and the colors on them, but I thought they would also look really pretty if I painted them. And again, I needed a little more neutral decor in my home, so I decided to take 4 of the eggs and paint them with 2 coats of the plaster color by Waverly. And I always think it's easier to paint eggs if they're taken apart. I just think it's easier to paint one half at a time and then put them back together after the paint's dry. Once all the paint was dry on my eggs, I decided to start embellishing them a little just to cover up that seam in the middle, because I think it makes it look more high-end if you don't see that seam. This is a great way to use up any little scraps that you might have. You can see I have some scraps of greenery, I have some lace, I have some ribbon, I got some little flowers here, and there was really no rhyme or reason to how I was putting things on. Some of the eggs I just wrapped ribbon around the middle and left it plain. Some of them I decided to add some bows, some got flowers and greenery. It was just kind of whatever I felt like doing. There are a lot of ways that you could use these hand-painted eggs. I decided to display some of mine in this little crate that I had made last year, and I'll make sure I have that video linked in the description box if you want to see how I made it. And yeah, friends, you saw that right. I had little limes shoved in the bottom of this crate just to act as a space filler because I didn't have any extra floral foam on hand. So, you know, use what you got, right? I also laid a piece of pink fabric over mine just to give it a little special touch, and then instead of using like floral moss or Spanish moss, I decided to use some paper shred in a really pretty Easter color. I thought that would be something different, and just for fun, because I love these bottle brush carrots so much, I decided to tuck some of those in here with my eggs. And then to fill in the gaps between my eggs, I added a few pieces of greenery. I think these eggs would really work well on a tiered tray too, just to act as a space filler in between your other decorations. Thanks so much for hanging out in the craft room with me today. If you want more spring and Easter inspiration, I left some videos on the screen that I think you might like. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you in the next one.